Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. This is Will Bridges from your team at 123Trade. We are just about ready to get started with this week's trading session. We've got lots going on. We had the Non Farm Payroll numbers come out something like 30 minutes ago, and those were looking very strong. We've also got other big news here in the US happening here today. We've got infrastructure bill going through Congress, just another trillion or so dollars that they plan to spend that we don't have. So if that goes through, it's more or less in my mind, it might be a nail in the coffin for raising the debt ceiling in December. So lots of good movement to look for here today, folks. When there's big move on the dollar, there's big move on lots of things. And I'm excited about it. Hope you guys are as well. Looks like we have a lot of people still floating in the room today. I want to make sure I've got the questions box open. Got the fun recording thing happening, so people won't get mad at me for later if you want to watch this afternoon. But I hope you guys have had a good week. We've got lots to cover here. I'm going to go ahead and get this show on the road. And first things first, I got to cover my base for you folks. This is a risk disclaimer. What it says is that if you put your money in the Forex or any market really for that matter, your capital is at risk. You do have to risk it to get the biscuit. There's no such thing as a guaranteed trade. Guaranteed investment. That is a pipe dream, people. You're going to see me trade with a stop loss, and it's because this game is about building wealth. There is no way to win every time. If you guys find one, then by all means send me an email, let me know. But if you do have questions, we are going to have a lot that I'm going to cover in here. We're going to go through fundamental analysis for, well, really the entire world for the week. I'm going to go through the economic calendar, so you guys can have a feel for what's going on numbers wise. I've also got some news that I want to talk about as well once we get the charts pulled up, so I can help you guys understand how these things work together and really where the big move might be. And I have a pretty good idea. I got a couple of them that I want to show you guys here today. We've had a very successful month so far. I want to say we're up better part of 500 or 600 pips this month, to my knowledge. I need to go and look at the list here. We'll look at the history while we're in here today. But let's go ahead and get things moving. Okay, some of you might be in this presentation for the first time. You might be watching this video on YouTube and not know who we are. But 123Trade is well, basically we're an introducing broker. We want to help you find the best broker we know about, okay, for whatever it is that you want to be trading. We focus on Forex. I'm going to look at commodities in here as well in these trading sessions. And really all you got to do is fund a trading account with us to get into these live. If you guys are here live right now, you already have an account with us. Check. But we are going to try to give as much guidance and mentorship as we can. We want to make sure that you guys have a great trading experience. I'm not here to tell you guys that you have to trade something. I want to make sure you guys understand how this stuff works and get to see somebody that actually does trade every week, most days, actively in action. Because the easiest way for me to learn was to follow somebody else. It's just like anything else I've ever learned my entire life. But I think it looks like my sound may have went down. Can you guys still hear me? Am I still audible? Just give me a Y or an N in the chat box if you guys can. Appreciate that, Val. Thank you. Thanks, Trevor. And we've got, charting connection set up. We help people with that sort of thing. There's lots of bonuses that we have, trading room software, all that type of stuff. If you guys want to check out more of that stuff, it is on 123trade.com/premium. There's a ton of stuff available if you're looking to pump up your account, fund a new one, get one for your wife, whatever it is that you want to do. But we're going to do weekly training and analysis in here, mostly just because I want you guys to understand how I manage my risk and what I do to stay in the game and what I do to try to win. So we used to cover a lot of things in this session every week, and I think it got kind of boring, more so for me maybe than anybody else. But placing your first trade, if you haven't done that, you really got to kind of knock the plastic off of your account at some point. If you're going to have a trading account, there's no reason to have it if you're not going to trade it. But that's up to you guys. I'm not here to pressure anybody. If you want to see how a trade is placed, that's going to happen in here. I'm going to open a live one in approximately 5 minutes from right now, after I show you guys the analysis. If you want to know how to do any of these other things, there are videos on our website on 123trade.com. They're also on our YouTube channel. This page on the website actually just kind of pulls in the YouTube channel. So if you haven't seen this page on our website, Our latest videos get posted here, 30 minutes after they get posted on YouTube. So if you want to get them on as soon as the recording comes out, you need to subscribe and click the bell in YouTube so you can get the notifications from them. Otherwise, there is education at the bottom here, Forex education for beginners. If you guys want to know more about finding trend direction, how to manage your equity, what controls the market, all these topics here, I wish somebody had showed me a long time ago, especially things like how to use MetaTrader 4. Because if you have Smart Trader, you're probably going to want to have MetaTrader 4 also, just as a backup. You may never use it, but if you ever have an issue, you have a password problem, anything like that, troubleshooting is much easier if you also have MT4. Very easy to get. There's a walkthrough for both of those platforms here. And otherwise, the MyFX book thing is really neat. I'm kind of mad at IG right now because my history is broken in my account. So I can't track my results with my FX book, which is kind of annoying for me. But I do have a. We'll get to the live account here in a second. I want to go through a little bit of news. Make sure everybody's up to speed on what's happening in the world. Right now, I've just got today pulled up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this to this week. Apply, and I'm actually going to filter out all the orange stuff because I don't care. And we're going to just go through this list. I'm going to try to generalize things as much as I can, point out the important stuff. But basically, the U.S. is cranking as of this manufacturing number on Monday. Cash rate in Australia, probably not going to change. They're not going to raise interest rates until 2024. So I'd be really surprised if they just suddenly did it 3 years early. At least that's what they've been telling everybody is 2024. New Zealand looking much stronger than anticipated. So we might see a little bit more strength in the NZD than we do in the Aussie. Entirely possible to see that. Non-farm employment change. This ADP number comes out on Wednesday, 2 days before the non-farm payroll every month. This is the private number. ADP is if you want to clock in at work, you scan your thumbprint and, you're clocked in. ADP sells that technology. If more people are clocking in at work, that probably means that more people have jobs. Okay, so they put out a number of 571 earlier this week. Give you a little bit of an idea of what happened today. We'll get there in a second. Services look incredibly strong. 66 is, well, anything over 50 is strong, okay, is bullish, okay, for the economy. So it's bigger than it was last month. If you guys can see that 61 number there. So the U.S. cranked out this week, okay, not a whole lot happened with the federal funds rate. They've already told us they're not changing that here in the U.S. until next month. Otherwise, if we keep on moving here, so I'm getting a message from somebody that seems like it's urgent, but I don't think they realize I'm doing a trading session. I'm in my session. All right, so anyways, continue. The pound, okay, this asset purchase facility, they didn't change it, okay? There's rumors in the U.S. that they're going to taper off of bond purchasing, okay? UK, same scenario. They're going to taper off of bond purchasing, which means they're going to buy less of their own bonds. Okay, they're going to back the mortgage market less, is essentially what that means. There's going to be less liquidity in the system if they lower this number. They have not done that yet. If they threaten to do it, or they talk about maybe, I don't know, more. It looks like more people are voting to lower it. So they are moving towards a taper. So we should see some pretty good strength in the pound as people anticipate this number to flip over and this asset purchase facility to come down. Because if you look at this number here, I don't know if you guys can see this. Okay, these are at crazy highs. Okay, so if they turn the knob down, so why did the GBP drop so much? Well, it hasn't happened yet. They didn't actually taper. They were talking about doing it already, Philip. So this is an indication to me. If the votes changed, they haven't voted to drop it yet. That's really what will make it make the pound stronger. At least it should, as far as economics works. But generally, they haven't done it yet, and they were supposed to do it sooner. So that is a reason why that hasn't happened yet. They haven't changed the bank rate there either. So they are talking about doing it, but obviously it's still a 3-6 vote. The minority is looking to lower. They did get one extra person though, so they might get, well, 2 more of them, and then they go ahead and do it. So I mean, it's kind of one of those things that the momentum is changing more so than anything else. All right, so Canadian employment change here. Canada, okay, their unemployment rate went down. I think this is the 5th month in a row that this went down. Okay, so because I mean it did come up, I think back here in June was a rise, but reality it's been falling, you know, since the COVID crisis began. The 15 days to flatten the curve started, and it's been falling since then. The average hourly earnings here in the U.S., as expected, not a big jumper. This 531,000 jobs created is huge, 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 huge in the U.S. Unemployment rate, we're looking at lower ones. Okay, so what this is going to do, in my opinion, cause a little bit of a short-term rise that we've probably already seen. I'm going to pull up the charts here. I've got one I want to show right away because I kind of want to get into it. Okay, so this is the dollar JPY. And I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of long-term analysis on here so you guys can see more or less what I'm looking at. Okay, so left to right, you know, that's more or less big broken trend line with a backside test. And we've been on the right side of this thing for a long time. We already made higher lows on the right side of this thing. So long-term, I think that this is an uptrend. However, that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get another tool in here, my rectangle tool. I'm going to take a look at the price we're at right now. Okay, so if you guys look at this here, I'm going to change this box to a different color so you guys can actually see this. Okay, but if you look at this here, we zoom in. We're still in the weekly time frame that I'm looking at. Okay, so and I already know that I want to sell this. Okay, people like to do tons of analysis. I like to start on the high time frame, and if I can find an opportunity here, usually it means it's going to be a big one, at least in my experience. Okay, so at this price, the last time we hit it, the last 1, 2, 3, 4 times, the market fell at least 500 pips. Okay, so what that means to me is it could fall another 500 pips, especially if we're getting a lower highs at the top of this trend here. Let's get rid of our little circle here that I drew here from the higher time frame. We already know that this is a high. If I can get it to go away. Oh, my mouse is playing hard to get with me. So maybe we're just going to use a different color. Let's do a different color. We'll do green. Sounds like fun. Okay, so we've got a high here. Okay, we've got another high here, and we've got an even lower one that's forming right here. Okay, so that being said, okay, we just had these amazing numbers come out. We're at a high price right now. Okay, what I want to do is look for a place where I can manage my risk, short this bad boy, and I may actually just go ahead and jump this right now. Let's see, get a fib range on here. Maybe I can get a target to use. I missed it there. Hold on. All right, so our next low we may see could be right here. Okay, that may be where I want to rip the tape on life and get out of this trade. That's about 90 pips away from where we are right now. I'm going to go ahead and measure another line. Current market price is my favorite one to draw. Okay, and now I'm going to come to where my stop loss may be. Okay, and if you're going to be real aggressive, you'd put it here. I'm not going to do that. Okay, that's what a lot of people are going to do when they come look at stuff like this. They're going to call the top. I think I need to use these previous highs. Okay, so that being said, I either, in my mind, need to be happy with this risk reward ratio, which is just a little bit better than 1 to 1, or I could enter it twice, or I mean, you could do a lot of things. I could run a robot here and let this enter for me later in the hopes that maybe it retraces. But you know, we just had amazing news come out for the dollar, and this 2-hour candle looks pretty bearish. So I'm going to go ahead and click the sell button and just drag this stuff in here. Actually, hold on. I need to get my widget back up here. Here we go. There's my trading widget. Save. Perfect. I'm going to go ahead and make this a, how many pips are we risking here? Let's talk about that for a second here. We're talking about 74 pips. I'm going to go ahead and do a 0.02. It's 15 bucks, roughly. Okay. I am not the least bit concerned about 15 bucks. So this feels like a good time to me. 74, call this 100, and I'll move it if I need to adjust it. But I'm going to go ahead and click sell. And now I'm in this trade. And realistically speaking, okay, I'm aimed a little bit lower than this fib level that I drew here. What I think might be prudent is for us to see where the long-term move may go. And the reality of the situation is, my line is actually at the same one as this this daily fib level right here. If you guys can see that, So I'm a little bit prior to that. I'm perfectly good. It's a little bit better than the risk reward that I had measured initially. So I'm going to let it ride until we get to that extension level. And for a lot of reasons, there's lots of lows that are going to want, or highs, excuse me, that are going to want to get tapped. These are targets that I'm talking about here. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention, but target trading has been killing it lately. Just to give you guys an idea, target trading has been absolutely amazing lately. I think something like tens of thousands of pips, I want to say, in the last couple months on target trading. So I'm going to look for targets. And there's one there, there's another one here, there's another one here. Okay, there's lots of them all over the place. Okay, so this big demand zone, a lot of people like to look at things different ways, but this is the demand zone because we had lots of price action here, and then the market busted north pretty heavy. So not a bad idea for me to even try to trade this lower, but I'm not going to be greedy. I'll try to get this 100 pips here and be happy with my life. And let's keep on going. So let's keep on moving here. Let's get into I want to make sure I want to stay in these other ones. This NZD Swiss, we did dig pretty deep on this one. We did not get stopped out, which I was pretty happy about. But this one I think is well, the strategy on this one's pretty clear cut. Draw a couple of lines here. You guys will know what I mean by that. But here's my trend on the bottom. Okay, here's a counter trend line that happened here. Okay, and now we've got higher and higher lows happening as we move up. Okay, so this to me looks like an uptrend. This could be a strong hold. I'm going to come down to my lower time frame, get a closer look. Okay, this is the 1 hour. You guys can see that we just sniffed the stop loss there. We picked a great place to have a stop loss because we did not get stopped out, and we are still in the game, people. That's what this is all about. Okay, so I want to stay in the game. I want to survive. And even though this didn't go to my plan, okay, I'm still up on this currency cross. So I could get out of Dodge right now and be profitable. And if I think that this thing may take a little bit of a breather, let's look at an even lower time frame. We got the 15-minute now. We've got lots of resistance that we're at right now. If you guys can see this previous support that happened, okay, right over here. Okay, this is what I'm talking about. Okay, so the market may take a little bit of a breath right now. Okay, no credence, no, there's absolutely no gospel in the world, but if I don't really like this trade a ton and I think that it's going to come back down and test, I may jump out of it. That being said, I may also just lower my overall exposure in this position, which might make the most sense in my brain. But that being said, see if we can close out this profit. Oh, that wasn't my first trade open, so I need to figure out which one I opened first. And that would have been this 656. It would have been this one. Okay. Closed one of them. And it is moving up. I just have less exposure. I blew 5 cents on that. I'm not super concerned about it. Let's keep on moving through these. I've got the pound CAD. We're already up 4 pips on this dollar yen. I just did that a couple seconds ago. Pound CAD, I think I opened in a session yesterday with some UCS users that just can't let go. I know how it is. Change can be difficult. I know some of the people in this room have the ultimate charting software. So I'm not going to talk smack, but let's just say I work with, smart trader, market traders. I haven't used the UCS in 3 or 4 years just because it's outdated. That's just my opinion. But let's go ahead and keep on moving here. Okay, this is the pound CAD. Okay, the reason why I got in this one, actually, I'll show this real fast. You guys are going to understand why I got in this one, where I did, very quickly, because I'm going to draw a box right here. You guys know that the market does a couple of things. It goes up, down, and it goes sideways, and we're at a pretty prominent low right now. Okay, so all I'm doing is I'm looking to, well, I bought at this previously purchased low price where this market moved like crazy. We're talking lots of pips from this price. Okay, so it's done 800 pips there, 800 pips there, 700 there. This in my mind is a low price. At least it has been for the market in the past. It could come lower. I could lose. I may buy it again at those lower prices. But that being said, I'm going to let this one ride for right now because I'm currently about, I don't know, from these highs here, 700 or more pips from where this might go, and my target's actually more conservative, and my target's still 600 pips away. Okay, so I'm going to stick that pound CAD. Already decided I'm going to stick part of my NZD Swiss position, and let's go ahead and keep on moving here. I want to get into more dollars, so let's get to the Euro USD, everybody's favorite, the most heavily traded instrument in the history of instruments. Okay, this thing moves. Okay, so it looks like I had a pending order here that was a little bit, well, optimistic. We didn't quite make it back up and get into that. I need to actually clear out this pending order. Goodbye, because I don't think I want to use it anymore. Okay, so now we've got this thing blank. Let's go to the slightly higher time frame. Let's go to the weekly. Zoom out here so we can get a good eyeball on what's been going on. And the reality is that we are in a range, okay? There is a very heavy price level we could hit very soon. And I'm just going to point this out because there was a day here, a week, a time, a place that the market really cared a ton about this price, okay? Right there, okay? So what I want to do is buy from that place because the last time the market touched that price, from the other side albeit, okay, the last time it touched that price, okay, let's go ahead and measure this. Okay, last time it touched that price, 843 pips happened pretty quickly. Okay, and this thing is screaming down. Okay, if you guys are into anything else like Elliott wave, anything like that, a lot of people might look at this as an exhaustion wave. This is, I would be somewhat calling a bottom here if that were to happen. If we go further back in time, okay, where I drew my ray from, let's just go ahead and extend this thing. Okay, if I pull this back here, okay, that looked like a pretty impactful price over here too, right here. Okay, so that being said, you know, this price matters for some reason, and it mattered again over here, and it mattered again over here. You know, we stuck there. There's a lot of demand at that level, and a lot of people will look at that with, you know, a box, whatever. Okay, everybody's got their different set of eyeballs, but I think we've got a hot stove set up down here in this gray box that I've just drawn. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down to the day chart, okay, and what I'm looking to do is to start entering this thing really, I mean, as soon as we get into that box, I will become a buyer, at least for the short term, okay, and really when I say short term, I'm meaning this area is really what I would want to fill, okay, with my box. Okay, so this is the area that I think that the market can go back to. I'm not necessarily going to use this entire gray area below. The market could come all the way back up here. There's lots of places where there's tons of turnarounds. So, and the reality, it could come up, could come up even higher than that. I mean, but the main thing is, okay, it's who's going to be able to print faster. Actually, let's just zoom out more on this so you guys can get an idea of what I'm talking about. But long term, just to show you guys, okay, this has been an uptrend. Okay, this has been an uptrend, even though it has been for the last decade, the last 30 years, it's an uptrend. Okay, that's an upward channel in my brain. Okay, and this is a counter trend line break that happened years ago. Here's another one that just happened more recently. So I think that this is an uptrend long term. Okay, I think that we're about to be at a very pivotal price. I also happen to know that the debt ceiling is coming. If they raise it, they're going to increase, well, they're going to increase American debt by whatever this infrastructure bill is that they're talking about today. If we go to the Google real quick, we'll just say U.S. infrastructure. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay. Oh, they're going to hold Build Back Better and infrastructure votes on Friday. That's today. Okay, so these are social spending bills. What the heck does that mean? A social spending bill. I don't know where the heck we live anymore, but it isn't Earth. And end of the day, they're talking about spending trillions of dollars that we don't have. Okay, I don't know if you guys have seen this in here, but I've shown this before. This is the U.S. debt clock. Okay, this isn't an exact number. I'm going to show you. This website is an estimate, but it's running all the time. We're inching up on 29 trillion. The limit is 30 trillion. They're trying to spend more than that on this social spending infrastructure plan. We don't have the money. I don't care what anybody says. We don't have the money. And Nancy Pelosi's coming out and telling everybody it'll cost us nothing. What the heck does that mean? Okay, so what that means to me is that they're going to increase the money supply because they don't care about inflation. Matter of fact, it seems like they're trying to drive it. Okay, they also got a signal today that they could probably drive more because the jobs report came out strong. So if the jobs report came out strong, they're talking about spending a lot of money. We've already seen a fall in the dollar yen in the last couple of minutes since I started this presentation. I may look to buy this Euro USD right now before they pass this giant infrastructure bill and just jump in this thing. Let's actually get to a time frame that makes sense that I already worked on here. Let's get rid of our big green box here. Okay, let's get a fib on here as well. Just get an idea, feel for where these levels actually are. I missed that time. There's one of them. And there's another. We are at the edge of an AB boundary right now. So my decision here is going to be to just buy. And I need to figure out where I can put my stop loss. I might go ahead and throw on some smart support here. Delete my other lines that are in my way here because I don't need them anymore. And I like a quiet chart. I don't know about you guys, but this is showing me I've got a level here a little bit below fib level, hidden level right there that I might be able to use as a stop loss. And that's all the way down under 114. Okay, so if this thing does dip on me, I may want to rebuy because in my opinion, this thing is an uptrend. There's going to be lots of places where I might be able to get in again. You know, if I'm nervous, if I feel like I'm getting in early right now, I can always get in smaller. I just need to figure out where I can get out. That's really the most important thing for me. Is where I can get out. Here's the easiest thing to draw, the current market price. So where I can get out, I want to try to get 2 to 1 on as many trades as I can. If I can't get 2 to 1, that isn't the end of the world. But realistically, there's lots of meat in this price that I just picked here. And I just picked that because there's lots of turnarounds at that price. I don't get to choose where the market turns around. I just want to get out and in at those places. And that's more or less what I'm looking for all the time is where did the market turn before? You know, past history is not going to dictate what happens in the future, but people like familiar prices, just like they liked $5 footlongs at Subway, you know, and lunch was $5 everywhere for like 10 years. And then suddenly, you know, you get a footlong now, it's $10. That was only 10 years ago. They just depressed the price on a sandwich for a really long time here in the US. I don't know if that was the same everywhere, or if you guys even all have Subway, but I think that stuff is kind of funny, just my opinion. Let's keep on moving. Okay, let's measure this risk here that I'm looking to take 140 pips to try to get 278. Sounds like fun to me. Call it 270. Okay, I may end up closing this thing out sooner, who knows? But realistically, I'm in the game. I just bought, and this trade is happening. Okay, so I don't have to do anything else if I don't want to. I can leave this forever and forget about it because at the end of the day, I'm risking something like, you know, not a lot of pips. Let's go ahead and measure this for you guys one more time. Okay, it's 140 pips. Okay, 0.02, $28 is what I'm risking here. I'll risk $28 10 times a day for the rest of my life. I've got no issues with doing that. If you can't, trade smaller. It's $14 for the 0.01. I'm not telling you have to. I'm just giving you an example. But the reality of the situation is you want your trades to be something that you don't sweat about while your charts are closed. Because if you do, you're going to be married to your computer. And let's just say that's not, well, it's a lonely life to live. It's much easier for me to do this, finish this trading session, and then later today I can go do whatever I want. You know, if I want to paint my bathroom, I don't have to check my phone every 15 minutes. You know, it's definitely something, definitely an advantage, in my opinion, to not have to check things constantly. Okay, so we're in this trade. Okay, I'm going to go look at more of them. Okay, so let's go ahead and check out this GBPUSD. I think this one might have a great opportunity. We did see some nice healthy dip in them yesterday. Let's get to the all-time frame so people can get a perspective on what this thing is doing and where we may want to dump, where we may want to jump. All those fun things. Let's get as much real estate as we can. I want the whole world in my hands on this big time frame. Okay, I want to be able to see everything because then it makes it easier for me to find the patterns that I like. Here's one. Okay, we have a broken trend line, and we are really working on trying to make a higher low on the right hand side. Let's look at the week. Let's keep this nice and simple. Okay, I don't need a ton of stuff on the chart to know what I want to do. And realistically speaking, you know, it's really just all about finding where I can manage my risk. Okay, so we're not quite to these levels yet. You guys can see this here. This is really what I would consider the demand zone. Okay, we're not quite there yet. Just like with the euro, it may come down and tap that. Okay, I may actually be, just because I was more aggressive with the euro, I may be less aggressive on the pound, but I'm going to come to the lower time frame before I decide. Okay, so what we're looking at now is that we're at this low price we hit in September, and when we hit that price in September, just to give you guys an idea what happened, the absolute last time we were at this price, okay, it went 380 pips. That's a big move. Okay, and if you come down here, I'm not sure that this may have been a false break here. It was. So we didn't actually get anything special from that. We're going to undo that one because I don't need that. Not going to do anything for me. But realistically, if I get rid of this box and we take a look at our resistance levels below with our smart resistance tool, or excuse me, our support levels. Choking on my tongue today, people. Ooh. All right, so I've got lots of support at this slightly lower level that would have been inside of my previously drawn box. Okay, so this is really where I think a stop loss would need to go. Beyond that, I want to go ahead and draw my current market price because it's the easiest one to draw. And it gives me perspective on how far I need to take a trade. Okay, do I need to take it to the moon? Probably not. Let's go ahead and find a level. Okay, and this is really just as simple and for some people strategy as finding a place where the market has turned around in the past. Okay, this may not be high enough for you. Okay, another way, it's not high enough for me either if we're on the same page. But now we're looking at this. We may actually want to get in at our 618. I may be a little bit more conservative on this one than I was on the euro. Okay, so I'll pull my entry down to this 618 level. I'm going to be more patient, okay, because I wasn't on the other one. I was aggressive on the euro. And that's okay. I'm still well within range to stay in that trade. If the market dips, I don't have to worry about it. I can always buy it again if I want to do that. Oh, because I have enough ammo in my account to do that. If you don't, then don't plan trades like that. And that's really something that people need to understand. You know, I'm going to continually grow this account. I'm going to add more money to my account as months go on. I'm going to pay this. I'm going to pay into this just like I do into my 401k because I know that I'm a good trader and I think I can make more money. And that's why I'm going to keep investing in myself. So, you know, if you get to a point where you can manage, it's much easier to trade small amounts of money and demo accounts. How many of you have ever traded a demo account and you're like, wow, this is so easy? It's nothing like trading my live account. Why do I always win in my demo account? It's because you're not emotional about your demo account because there's no actual money hooked up to your demo account. Okay, so the reason why I can sit here in front of a lot of people, post this video on the internet for all the world to watch while I risk my own personal money is because I'm not going to risk more money than I can afford to lose on any given trade, especially for the size of this account. And as this account grows, I'm going to take bigger and bigger risks as time goes on, and you guys will get to see that, assuming you guys keep coming here. But that said, let's go ahead and set up this pending order for our more conservative pound position. I'm going to do a 0.02 here, pending buy. My price here, I've got 1.33, and we'll call it 1.33. I like that. Nice round number. Okay, that's 147 pips below where we are right now, though, people. So we may not get there. Okay, we may not get there, but I'm already in on the euro pound, on the euro USD, so I don't need to care if I don't get in this. This is more or less a backup for the fact that I decided to be more aggressive somewhere else, and I like to hedge myself as much as I can when I take risks, so that I don't get too far in over my head at any given time on one idea. Okay, so now I've got this pending buy order set up. Oh, I had an invalid stop. Hold on. Oh, okay. I typed in the pip window. That's why that happened. So we'll go ahead and just make this 200, whatever, 400 deal. And then I'm going to click and move these. All right, so now I can just click drag this up to where I want it. Okay. Click drag my stop loss down to where I want it. Okay. So I don't have to spend a bunch of time typing all this stuff in if I don't want to. So now we're slightly more conservative on this pound USD, but I think we've got a great opportunity And the potential on this one is big. I mean, you're talking about if it does get down to our price, or we're holding out on the market, this is a 500 pip opportunity. Okay, so could be a very large move from there. Could fall another 10 miles. There's really no way to know. That's why we have stop losses in our lives. Let's keep on moving. Okay, and I was looking for a little bit more strength in the NZD. Okay, because we had better than expected numbers from them this week for their gross domestic product. We had some fantastic numbers for the dollar come out later. Okay, so what I think is we might be in buy territory on this NZDUSD. And we're going to go ahead and do a little bit of analysis so we can not just trade on our feelings, because that's not what I want to do. I want to trade based on logic. Okay, and I want the technicals. Well, I want my fundamental analysis and my narrative to make sense with the technicals. The technicals are, in my mind, more important than all the fundamental stuff that I talk about. The only difference is that, it makes it easier for me to sit in a trade when I know what's going on with the asset. Okay, if the asset in this case is the NZD, and I think that the NZD is going to crash one day or whatever it might be, then I want to understand why something is happening. Okay, you don't necessarily need that. Not everybody needs that. I'm just a very detailed person, and I like to know why, because that's just how I am. And I'm going to question things and question things and question things, and that's just how I am. But I drew something very similar to this on the euro. Okay, this is an upward channel, has been for the last, I don't know, almost 30 years. So I think we're in a buy position here. Also, because we've got on the right side of our counter trend line break, okay, we've got a low here. Okay, we've got a higher one right there on the right side of this trend line. Here's a high on the left side. Here's a high on the right side. This feels like an uptrend, baby. What do you guys think? You guys think uptrend or downtrend at this point? Because in my mind, well, you already know. I already told you. I already told you what I think. We could come down further. Okay, there's nothing that says, hey, right now is the time, because now we're on the 2 hour. I do think uptrend. I do think today could be a big day for this, but I also think that we could see a little bit of a reprieve. So let's go ahead and get a little fib on here. And we may actually want to do this on the daily. It might make more sense to do this on the daily. And there's our daily. Okay, so another thing I want to show you guys here on the daily, get a trend line on here. Okay, we have not quite yet made the backside test. Maybe I got to get a little tighter on this line. Hold on here. Hold on. I may be a little bit lazy on where my line is exactly. We may actually be there. This may be buy time. I think if I can manage my risk, see where our extension level may be. Let's come to this bigger fib range here. Let's get the big wave that started in our 15 days to flatten the curve over here. And I've got a couple of targets we could look at. I've got a couple that coincide. So I might really like this level, okay, just because we have confluence. Okay, and the market really took a bath there. This was the highest price that we've seen over the course of the last couple of years, all the way back to 2018. Okay, so I'm not going to try to trade past that level, but I might trade to it. So all of that said, let's draw a blue line here. Get our current market price. Okay, and there we are. We've got lots of space above. I just need to find a place below where I can put my stop loss, because that's a 300 pip opportunity, 278 pips. Okay, so that's a big one. Okay, so if I zoom in here a little bit, let's get some smart support so I can see where those levels are. They're pretty far away. Okay, maybe if I really want to get in this, I have to plan to manage this trade. Not everybody's going to be comfortable doing that. I am, because I'm going to trade it small. Well, something that I perceive as small. Not everybody knows what small is, as far as what it is, how that actually looks. Okay, but this is what I'm looking at. If I set up 2 entries here, I can get in now, and I can get in again later. And I don't have to worry about getting dug on as much, because, if I get in now and I do a market order, okay, we'll do a 0.01. It's going to be super cheap for me. And, I'll do this 142.70, and then I'll just set it. Click buy, okay. Oh, out of date. Won't let me buy it. Am I trying to, let's see here. NZDUSD, there it is, buy, okay. They're not gonna let me do it. This might be too awesome of a trade for IG to let me do this. I think I really need to cut these people. I don't, as far as the my account, I'm gonna be moving my account here in the next couple of days because I think I'm a little bit tired of this type of jazz. If there's another NZD symbol in here, because I just figured this out on my phone yesterday. I have two different NZD USD symbols, which doesn't make any sense at all. But I guess they're not gonna let me trade it. You guys can do whatever you want. I just can't. As annoying as that might be, yeah, they're not gonna let me do it. I don't think I can do it from this platform either. I'll go ahead and pull up MT4. Where's my NZD USD? NZDCAD, NZD USD. It would be the absolute last one. Oh, I can buy it here. Buy. Did it. Did it. Perfect. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and add my pending order a little bit lower. My buy limit. Okay, so now I've got my buy limits a little bit bigger. Go ahead and set my stop loss above here. Let's actually come to my day chart so I can see where that was. Yeah, it's up. That's all the way up here. Okay, so now I'm set up. Okay, this is the same thing I was just trying to do. I'm not sure why it wouldn't let me do that a moment ago. It won't let me do it on my phone either, which I think is really odd. I hate the grid in MetaTrader 4, but I'm done in MetaTrader 4. My trade is open. I feel good about that. And actually, I think I'm being a little bit more aggressive with my pending order than I wanted to be. So I'll go ahead and fix that. Okay. We're modified. Perfect. At least I think so. Get my exit price where I actually wanted it. Stop loss where I actually wanted it. Outside of my AB boundary. Okay. Now we're all set to go. Let's go ahead and look at another one. I want the Australian dollar, US dollar, may be an interesting one. Let's check out this USDCAD. I think we snagged a few pips on this one this week already. And this one could be at a nice price. I think the dollar Swiss may be a fun one as well. This could be an excellent opportunity here. If you guys can see this like massive fall that's happened for a long time, this is when we really decided to start getting our credit cards out a lot as far as our government goes. Americans themselves actually paid off a lot of debt. The government did the opposite, okay, which is usually what they like to do, the opposite of what the people do. I don't know what country you live in. Some of you, I do know what country you live in, actually, a lot of you. But the reality is that it really just doesn't make sense for them to do a lot of things that they're going to do. So we've got this big, strong down move. Okay, let's come to this lower time frame here. We had this uptrend here, and I see a lot of things that I just don't mention because I've looked at them a lot of times, but not everybody's looked at that, okay? We have lower highs on the right side of this broken trend here. Okay, so here's a high on the dollar, and here's a lower one on the other side of this broken trend. Okay, so the trend is down. Okay, as far as anything I've ever been taught, the trend is down. So outside of that, we've also got this bear candle that happened right here. We'll zoom in on this guy. Oop, I don't want that circle to happen. Got this bear candle down here. This is a bearish engulfing candle. So if we come down to our day chart, okay, now we're all the way down here. Okay, what we're looking at on the day chart is that we've got another counter trend line break right there. Okay, so that being said, this is a downtrend. It has been. Okay, it's been up for the last couple of days, a couple big pumps, but end of the day, I think a downtrend. Okay, so I don't know if I'm ready to get in it right now. Okay, because we're in kind of no man's land as far as these levels go, but I may be willing to get in it at this 382 level here, and I may be even more excited at the higher levels. The reality is, I don't really think there's a great trade here right now. I think this week I don't know. I'll go ahead and click on the history here. Yeah, this week we took 60 pips on this one. We made a quick buy on this move that happened throughout this week. I'm not overly confident this one's going to go up, down, or sideways, so I'm not going to trade it for right now. I'm just going to leave it. We're in kind of no man's land on my levels here, and I don't want to just go based on my gut. As much as I love my gut, and I like to think that all of my ideas are good, some of them are not. And well, that's the fact of life. You are going to have losing trades too. So let's go ahead and look at the USD CHF because I really like the dollar yen. That was the first one we looked at here. Let's get back over to my active positions. And dollar yen's pretty flat right now, so this one might be a fun one. Let's go ahead and get to our all-time frame so you guys can see what's been happening with the dollar Swiss for, well, ever. Okay. And if we go ahead and crunch this thing down, okay, just looking at this, okay, it's been, what do you guys think the trend is here? Up or down? Or sideways? You guys can say up, down, or sideways. That sideways is an option. What do you guys think the trend is here? Let me know. Yeah, I'm thinking down. I'm thinking down too. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. And I really would love to think that, this is a low price. This is another way of looking at this. Okay, these are the all-time prices. There's high and low. Okay, are we high or are we low? Okay, we're at a low price. Okay, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything. The trend has been down or sideways for a long time because really this is a downtrend. Okay, that is a downtrend. We did break that. Okay, we did break that. This is, I think, when the Swiss franc unpegged from the euro years ago. Big move, open to close, total range. We're talking 1940 pips in that 1 month. That's huge. So this really could be an uptrend in the grand scheme of things at this point. As far as in the short run goes, the long-term trend, like the super trend, the 20-year, 30-year trend, this is down. Okay, but I'm looking for a move to make today. Okay, and I think maybe sideways. Let's go ahead. Let's get a closer look here before we start drawing a bunch of stuff. This is the higher high, the higher low that I'm talking about. Okay, on the right side of the trend line, and there's another one all the way over here that's higher on the right side of the trend line. But the reality of the situation is there's no gospel in the world. Are basically, well, we got a lot of strategies we can use on this one. Okay, so this could get confusing for some of you, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to make it simpler. Okay, so this is really what our range has been since we unpegged from the euro. Since 2015, this is the range that the market has created. This is our AB boundary. Okay, we are getting bearish dark cloud covers, bearish dark cloud cover, bearish dark. It's been a rainy month. 3 out of the last 7 months on this dollar Swiss. And I know that we're about to start to turn on the printers again here in the US. They're also about to start the taper. Okay, so this could be sideways. Okay, let's come to a lower time frame. This one might be weird, but might be less weird than we think as we get to the lower time frame. Let's come down to the day. Looks like this might be an easy decision for me, actually. Looks like this could be a great easy decision for me. We've got this trend line here that it seems like we've broken. It does seem like we want to move down. For the last several days, we have been. It's been falling since September 29th. Okay, so for the last month, it's been falling. Most of the time, it's been up, 3 out of the last 4 days. And I know that they're about to put this spending through. So, I mean, realistically speaking, there's no reason for me to call the bottom on something that's been a downtrend for the last 30 years. And we've got room below here, even if it has been an uptrend for the last 5. Okay, and it really hasn't. It's been kind of sideways. So if I want to really take a trade here, I have to accept the fact that I could be wrong about lots of things I've just said, okay, and have a good place to manage my risk, because I am going to be biased to the south on this thing. The range that I could aim to the outside of is all the way down there at 83. That's probably a little bit overzealous. Okay, maybe we aim at the bottom of our existing range. But I think this thing continues sideways, and it might, because we've got our broken trend here. Now I just need to know where I can manage my risk. Okay, that might be somewhere up here. I'm going to go ahead and get a blue line in here for current market price. Get another line for my stop loss. Okay, so it really doesn't matter what I think And you guys really heard me him and haw. I could probably spend another 10 minutes and convince you guys any direction on this one. And that's really how trading works. Okay, I could decide up, down. We could decide to buy this. There's definitely room to buy this. There's definitely room to sell it. There's definitely room to do nothing with it. But that said, I know that they're about to talk about spending big money today in Congress. We had a fantastic number come out with the non-farm payroll, and I know that in the next 30 days, we're going to have to raise the debt ceiling here in the US or, well, severely damage our economy. And I don't think they're going to do that. Let's come to the lower time frame. Make sure we still like to look at this thing. Okay. Have we broken a trend line here? We've closed above it. No, we're still below it. This still looks like a downtrend on the 2-hour time frame. I'm going to sell it. Okay. My decision is made. Okay. I've already done all the thinking I want to do here. Probably more. We overthought this particular one, if you want my honest opinion. Ooh, did I miss that again? I want this Fibonacci range. There we go. That's what I want. So we haven't hit our extension. I may actually just be a little bit tighter on this one and not look for such a massive move because we didn't feel super comfortable about anything. So I might as well be comfortable with the amount of risk and how long I'm going to be in this and turn this into a little bit more of a scalp style position. And we're looking at risking 65 pips to try to capture something like 110. I'm totally good with risking something like 13 bucks. So let's go ahead and do that. Do this 110 here. And I'm going to go ahead and risk, what was that? Something like 65. Go ahead and click on sell right now. Is it going to let me do it? Oh, interesting. See if we can do that from MT4. Nope, can't do it from here either. I really, I apologize, folks. I'm going to have to break up with IG for our next session because that's really, well, there's nothing more annoying for me than to go through a bunch of analysis, not be able to place the trade. Let's go ahead and keep on moving though. Does anybody have anything in particular they want to look at? I've already been through a lot of pairs here today. As far as the dollar goes, I think we've looked at most of the dollar crosses. Does anybody have a specific thing that they think, hey, this is hot? Philip, I would if I could. I would have joined AvaTrade a long time ago if I could in the US. A long time ago. There's a lot of brokers I would have picked, a long time ago if I could, if we're being honest, over anything you can get here in the United States. But yeah, that said, can't really do that. Let's go check out let's check out some pound pairs. I think this pound, let's see, the pound Australian might be a fun one. And this thing moves, it yanks and cranks. I think this is an excellent pair if you like fast movers. Okay, I've got an alert set on here from a long time ago that we haven't quite made it to. It looks like we might be screaming towards it. Let's go ahead and get a closer look on this thing. Here's my outer trend. We're working our way back up towards this upper trend line. It's taken a long time. Let's get one on the bottom. This one looks a little bit less steep, but that said, I still think we're working our way up on the pound. I don't think that the government there and the central bank want the pound to be weak long term for lots of reasons. One of them being that they're no longer part of the EU, and one of the reasons they left was to control their own monetary policy, because they are going to need things that are vastly different than what they need in Greece when it comes to raising interest rates or printing money or whatever it is. So I think that they are the masters of their own ship at the Bank of England now, and I don't think they want these numbers down here below, because that basically just kind of cuts their wealth. And if they're not going to produce everything in the world from that island they call the United Kingdom, then they probably want to be able to import things at a lower cost, which basically just means that they would want a more strong pound. Okay, so not necessarily a requirement that that happens. That is just my interpretation of what happened with Brexit, and a big reason why it happened to begin with, other than the fact that the people voted for it. Okay, so, and I'm not sure that a lot of people even knew what they were voting for when that happened. I think what happens if we leave the EU was the #1 search the day after Brexit happened in 2016. So let's come to our lower time frame here. Come to weekly. We've got a big demand zone down here. This thing has been falling for weeks and weeks and weeks. Okay, so it may not be done falling. We got a little bit of a well, let's just say lots of indecision in the current market. Let's go ahead and get a fib on the bottom of this just to see where we are in the levels over time. And it looks like we're not far off from this blue level, slightly further down here at 179.8. That's 300 more pips below. Okay, so I may not look to sell to it. This is a very volatile pair. This thing could move 300 pips on any given day. I don't know if you guys can see some of these, like this candle up here. Okay, this one had an 885 pip range. Okay, this is a weekly chart. Okay, so this thing can move like a rocket if it wants to. Okay, so you guys need to keep that in mind. This is not something that we'll just say a 200 pip stop loss on this trade isn't uncommon for me. And that's because the thing typically makes big moves and fast. Okay, so at this point, I don't think I'm ready to get in. I may actually just leave my alert here and try to enter this thing later. I would love to jump in it now, but really I think I have 2 weeks to make this decision. So we'll come back to this one next week. I want to go ahead and check out XAG, USD. Let's check out silver. Silver is one of my favorite investments for a ton of reasons. I think silver is about to rock socks, people. Okay, and I'm just going to draw this last. We've already talked about some impending potential, dollar printing, and that's the other side of the silver trade measured in dollars. So I'm going to draw a quick box here so you guys can see how obedient this thing has been to this box. Okay, we've got a little bit of maybe what some people would call a head and shoulders here. We have confirmation of an uptrend on this head and shoulders. As soon as we break this neck, as soon as we break that high price, I'm going to think this thing coming all the way up to 28 and a half. We're at 23 right now and change, 23.86. Yeah, we can look at oil in a second here, Philip. But what I'm thinking is that this thing makes a rise. We've got another broken trend line here with a higher high on the right side of this trend line. See, this feels much more obvious than what we were looking at on the pound Aussie, for example, or even on the dollar Swiss, or on a lot of different things we've looked at. We've got lots of indecision as far as versus my strategies in the market right now, because a lot of people are trying to figure out what the heck's going on. But that being said, I think we're looking upward on silver. I don't think any reason for it to go down. That doesn't mean it can't. Okay, so no matter what you do, you want to use a stop loss. Personally, let's just say I'm going to be a buyer on silver for quite a long period of time. I'm going to be bullish on this thing, but I think we've got room to make some pretty serious movement here in the coming days. It could make a little bit of a reprieve, but if we come down to this lower time frame, you guys see this here? There's another counter trend line break, and we're backside tested already. Okay, so I drew these higher lows from this other broken trend here. Okay, there's another one even on the smaller time frame right here. Okay, so if you guys can see this, I'm just proving to myself that the trend is technically up. Okay, because I've got these higher highs and higher lows that are forming, and I've got this channel that might just drive us to the ceiling. Okay, if you guys can see this, I'm just trying to make this more obvious. Okay, that's really where I'm looking for the market to go. Okay, it doesn't mean it has to. That just means if it continues the pattern it's been making, I don't know, for the last few days, and really the bigger pattern it's been making since September, then it's going to continue up if it continues the pattern. Okay, so if I know that, I want to figure out where maybe the short-term opportunity might be. Okay, then I'm going to just go ahead. I might even just draw a manual Fibonacci here and show you guys that. Okay, we already came down, hit the 5.0 level. I may look to dump at $27 if I was going to buy this right now and have a stop loss somewhere down here below some previous lows, all the way down to under $22. So I'd be risking something like, as far as the market goes, Okay, there's my potential entry would be right now. And my green level above, up at 27, looks like pretty solid opportunity in my brain. I cannot place that from the United States because they don't let us do that. They don't let us trade CFDs like this. I'd have to trade paper with SLV and a different account because they like to make things inconvenient for us here. But that being said, this is what I'm looking at on silver. As far as oil goes, this is a little bit more convoluted. And actually, let's have some fun real quick, and let's go ahead and just search for oil. And I'm going to click news. Oil falls to near 4-week low after big build in U.S. inventories. So that means that we're, stacking oil, increasing supply is what this means. But usually Reuters tells us the opposite of what's going on. I don't trust Reuters. People wonder why I don't trust the news, and it's because I trade. And I've always been told, buy the rumor and sell the news. So, as a trader myself, that means, yeah, just the news is probably late or just lying to me. Here's what Citigroup to Goldman say about after OPEC move. I don't need to get too far into the weeds with this stuff. Let's look at the chart. Okay, this thing's making a strong down move, and I think this actually, it was a long time coming. $85, way too much. Okay, we are getting lower highs on this. Okay, and a lot of this is going to be different than silver, I think, based on supply. Let's just say the supply of oil is much more volatile than the supply of something like silver. Okay, so hard metals, the reason why people hold on to hard metals is because they hold value. That is the point. Okay, so oil, I think, is due for a little bit of a dip. So does Tyson Clayton. There's a big prediction on it right now if you haven't seen it with him or with me. I think I talked about it. I'm talking about oil coming back to some considerably lower prices. Okay, there's our fib ranges. Okay, if we come back just to our 382 level, right here. Okay, that's at $73. Okay, what's $6 off of an $80? What's 6 divided by 80 here? I used to be really good at math. 3 out of 40. What is that? Let's get a calculator out. You geniuses, you can type in fast if you've got an answer. But yeah, we're talking about 7.5%. It's a big move. Yeah, thanks, Philip. 7.5% from where we are right now. That's just if we get to this 382. Okay, so that said, that's where I think oil is going. And the other reason why I think that is going to do that is because we're getting these bearish candles up top. Okay, these are pretty serious red candles we've got. We've got lower highs that happened also, and that usually indicates a turn. Okay, there's lower and lower highs, so we could make another high somewhere here, maybe, who knows? Or maybe it just falls all the way down here. We don't really know. Or it could come to another, well, it could go to 100 right away, or it could come down first and then do that when they raise taxes on oil and carbon and all this other stuff like they're talking about doing. Unless somehow we end up going back to a democracy here in the United States, I think we're destined to come down here and bounce up to higher prices later. But I don't think, well, as far as our energy sector goes, we don't really have a democracy here anymore. And if anybody has questions about that, then they can send me a message. But I don't say any of this stuff because I'm political. I say it because I trade and I want to know where the money's going to go. And for me to do that, I have to know how people make decisions and why and when. I don't have to know that. It just makes it easier for me to find the opportunities. So I don't know. I've been making money in this room, so you guys do whatever you want with yours. That said, let's keep on rolling here. We're just about out of time. Does anybody have anything else they want to look at before we go? I mean, we could do gold real quick. A lot of people want to know what's up with gold. I want to know what's up with gold. If I'm going to be here, charts open, ready to rock. Oh, wow, gold looks like fun. You want to know why I think gold looks like fun? This looks like it's bending. First of all, you guys see this bend here that's happening? You guys also see this maybe like, I don't know, broken trend, counter, like backside test, just like we're seeing on silver. Okay, so let's come back up to the week time frame. Show you guys gold long term here. And I think that really gold could do what it did over here during the Obama-Biden administration. Okay, we are now in the second Obama-Biden administration. So, it could do something similar to that. Let's actually just copy that. Control C, Control V, pull it over here, see what we got. Oh my gosh, it looks like it fits right on there. It's like I found the right shoe for the left. Okay, so I may just want to trade up to the top of the box, okay, and not try to go any further than that. So 1900, that range, something like that, might be ideal for where I would want to dump. I do think that gold could make new all-time highs. Okay, so until we start to break these highs, you know, I'm going to think that we're going to do the same thing we did last time with the last crash. You know, this is the, well, let's just say the last time we had, you know, a big issue. Gold ran up to all-time highs. The last time we hit all-time highs, basically, this is what happened after the last time we hit all-time highs. So I'll just go look for the same thing because I like patterns. But that said, you know, tons of opportunity in the world right now. I think we did place a good number of trades in here today. Things have been going fairly well recently in this room. If you guys are looking at these, okay, we've done pretty well. Okay. These are all from the 29th, 22nd, you know, a couple of days ago. You know, things have been going pretty well with the direction that we've been using in here. If you guys really, really like these sessions, if you want them to keep happening, okay, the easiest way you can do that so that the people that want me to do these or want me to do other things, okay, go to 123Trade, hit enter, and give us a review. Because there's absolutely nothing that makes me feel better in general. If I'm ever having a rough day, I come here. I'll copy this link for you guys and put this in the chat box so you can find it a little bit more easily. But nothing makes me feel better than coming here to look at reviews. Okay, I really appreciate all of the positive feedback. Hi, you want to be a trader? This is the place you want to be. That's what I'm talking about, Peter. Nothing makes me feel better. So I love doing these sessions. I hope you guys learned something from these, and mostly that nobody knows everything. Okay, you can think that you know everything, but usually the world is going to smack you across the face and take a little bit of money from you if you do that. So realistically, you guys need to learn how to manage risk like a pro. That's what everybody wants. Okay, and it's really not a big difference between the people that are amazing at trading and the people that are terrible. Okay, so keep paying attention, keep learning, folks. It's Friday. You guys have a good rest of the day. I know it's hard to mess up a Friday. Weekend is coming. You guys be good or be good at it. I'm Will Bridges from 123Trade. You guys take care.